So, this evening we are going to be chatting about a book that I really, really enjoyed. This is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. He is the writer of A Man Called Ove. You may have to check my Swedish pronunciation, but I believe that's correct. Now, that was a huge, huge hit, which because of that, it actually put me off. I decided not to read it. And
Same.
I was starting to feel the same way about this one. It's had such amazing reviews that I kind of thought, oh, too much hype, not going to bother with it yet. But we were very kindly sent a copy. And I have to say, I am so glad we got the chance to read it because I absolutely loved it.
It took my breath away, so if you know that. I read it in one sitting and I was so surprised by where it took me, because I think we've said the premise of the book, like a bank robbery that goes wrong. I've seen that play, like the bank robbery that goes wrong in the West End, and I was just a bit like, okay, so it's going to be comedic. Okay, lovely. I don't really know what to expect. And it was captivating, but also incredibly moving at parts.
The point is, it isn't the plot. I think I said to
No.
you, I read this one first, and I kept saying to you, and I'm not sure if you'll agree, but I very much felt that this is a novel about the assumptions that we make in life, the assumptions we make about people,
Yeah.
about their circumstances. There is so much here that's based on that. I mean, in fact, when you think about this story, it's a bank robbery, but it's not a bank robbery. The bank robbery goes wrong, which then in turn turns into a hostage situation. But it's
Yeah.
not really a hostage situation because that's not the intention of it. Just nothing really works out as it should. But in fact, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but you'll see
No.
it all is woven together so beautifully, so many different elements. And I have to say, you've got the book in front of you. Before I read it, if you open the cover, you will see the illustrations of the
Yes.
characters, which I have to say initially I thought, oh, that's a bit strange, and I don't really like that, having the characters drawn out for me, but sort of being prescribed what they look like. But in fact, I found it really helpful because there are these 8 characters who are hostages, and actually the illustrations are lovely, and it really kind of connected me with the people
Yeah.
who were in that flat in a way that I wouldn't have expected them to.
I did the same. Can I tell you, I kept on going back. The more that was revealed, I would go back and look at the pictures. It's so
Yeah.
funny you mentioned that. For me, what took my breath away was the style of writing. He has such a mordant humour. It's like idiosyncratic. Like he's so funny, and just in a very kind of he's just looking at the world and honestly portraying what he sees. He talks about the 39-year-old running up the stairs and his diet is a medical cry for help. I mean, that is me. I just think there was parts of sheer wit where I was bellowing with laughter and waking up my children. And then there were times where it was incredibly sad and evocative and vivid and moving, and it's
Yeah,
talking
and
about mental
touching on
health.
very, very serious issues.
Yeah, the themes are really important and critical, and they're in what he did brilliantly. So the style of writing for me was hands down blew me away, and then also the structure. So it is the tale of the bank robbery, and then it's going from different perspectives, genius, but also it's interspersed with these disparate moments at a specific place and about someone that's unidentified, and the bank robber's not identified. And that incremental and gradual way that the story builds really captured my attention, and it allowed him to develop the characters beautifully. You've got the condescending bank manager, you've got the people that are the busybody investment that they're hilarious, the couple. And I just think
The couple who love IKEA. It's
love IKEA,
brilliant.
who write the reviews, the annoyed reviews about
Yeah.
like household appliances.
And Jim and Jack, the policemen,
Yes.
who are father and son, and the
He
relationship.
brings to life people you know.
Absolutely. I think this is so much a tale of relationships, but also,
Yeah.
I think it sounds a bit cheesy and cringe, so do forgive me, but I think it really shows sort of the importance of compassion and kindness in the
I
world.
wrote the word compassion down.
In the world that we live in, particularly today, a place where we go about our business, we're not, I mean, obviously we are now in a very different world to where we were a year ago, but we go about our business generally not aware of the realities that people face. That person you rush past in the street, that's a person just like you and I, and who has their own life and all the challenges and achievements that they may have. But we don't give them any thought. We don't know what people go through, and actually it's cheesy, but doing one kind thing and reaching out to someone in a way that may require absolutely very little effort of you at all can make a huge difference. And I think that book really shows that.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. I think it can be anywhere. So it's based in a small Swedish town, but that could be any provincial place in the world, particularly because of the disdain that they refer Stockholm as the capital. The Stockholmers, that's used in a variety of different places, and he's very clever.
Absolutely.
But then there's the play of words, because you've got the bank robber. Now, it was really interesting because for me, what this did is the story sequentially was revealed. I was like, oh, what would I do if I was the police officers? And the more you get to know about the bank robber who's in quite a desperate situation, you're like, is this really that person's fault? And who is it? And it's very clever. Exactly. So, do you know, this is genre defying, because it's like a locked apartment mystery. Then you've got you're looking for the identity. Then it's like it's almost an exposition of morality. And then it's also, the mental health elements as well.
Absolutely.
And there's the play on words, isn't there? Because Stockholm syndrome, falling for the person that's taken you hostage.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
I really feel you are literally putting together a puzzle. That's it's a literary puzzle, I would say. It's putting together all these different pieces, and they connect. And once you see that bigger picture at the end, it's just like, oh, and there are so many things about the end that we can't go into, but if you read it, you will see it, and how magical the end is on so many different levels, not only in terms of, obviously, look, you know, who's done it. It is a who done it,
yes,
how they did it, and what happens, but also the aftermath of this very, very unusual failed robbery / hostage situation.
Yeah. And was anything done? But Sophie, was anything even done? Nothing actually happened.
Nothing. But what came from it?
Oh, it's aspirational.
Much. Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. And it's through this bizarre state of affairs that the complexities within the characters are revealed as well. And you start to feel very differently for people that you might have had a very different perspective of initially. And it's aspirational. It is an aspirational book. And actually there are points which, again, as we said, are very sad. And it's not a happy ending for all. But there's this important connecting theme of hope that really, for me, was so uplifting. And I was so incredibly happy that I read it afterwards. I was telling people to read it. I understand why it came runner-up in the Goodreads Fiction 2020, because it is nothing like I've ever read before.
Yeah, and it is funny.
It's very funny.
There is real humour there.
Yes.
So I think it would appeal to so many people, really. And as you say, I think it's genre defying and really worth the read.
But highly emotive and incredibly descriptive. You really feel a sense of place, where they are, what they've experienced in very small. I loved the interview transcripts as well that are interspersed. I thought those were absolutely hilarious.
Who was your favourite character?
Zara, hands down.
Zara, she was great. And I have to say, I loved Estelle.
Oh, the flummoxed neighbour.
I loved Estelle.
They were all so true to life. I think I would like to meet the author and shake his hand, because this was just not what I expected, and an excellent read. Anyone that hasn't read this must go get a copy. I think it would appeal to so many different people.
And you'll for sure come away feeling that you've got almost like 8 new friends somehow, weirdly.
I agree.
Enjoy it.